This video is for business leaders or anyone else who wants to work at somewhere that is more positive. So this is actually the fifth episode in the clone series. I actually need to put links back to these things. I will include one link to the beginning of this series in the description here. In any case, this is about how our evolutionary defaults work against us, not just at work, but also in our private lives. So today on the clone is the N, that is N for negative. Essentially what this comes down to is our evolutionary default is that we are negative. It's actually called the negativity bias, and I'll talk about that in a moment. But also how we can kind of do the opposite of our evolutionary default, because they are making our lives and our health of both our companies and our persons much less than they could be, because they're no longer adaptive. They're actually working against us in the safe and abundant world we now live. So here's the good news. The good news is being positive is a habit and a skill we can learn. The bad news is our evolutionary defaults that I just talked about is to be negative, because that's what kept our ancestors alive in a far more dangerous world like the one that they lived in. Now, Roy Baumeister is the social psychologist who discovered the negativity bias, and he put it very brilliantly in his book, The Power of Bad. Life has to win every day. Death has to win once. That's the reason why we tend to, by default, focus on the negative, because when you heard that scary rustling or growling sound outside or near your camp, if you were optimistic, you'd be like, oh, I'll just go over there. It's fine. I'm sure whatever it is, it's friendly. Well, that particular cave person or primitive person got eaten and therefore didn't pass on their genes, which is why we survived, because our ancestors just assumed the worst and took the negative perspective, focused on the negative, because that's what was most likely to help them survive up until even maybe a few centuries ago. So it's true in business and it's true in our personal lives, but grounded yet positive and optimistic leaders and workplace are likely to lead to more success than the opposite. So to be more positive and optimistic, I have some strategies. First of all, change your mind. That's actually the title of a song by a group named Sister Hazel. It was at the end of a funny movie called Bedazzled that some of you may remember. Kind of a humorous movie, but the song was very positive and uplifting, but it was really the message that that song had. And I'm going to put a link for this. I guess I'll put it there because it's here too. As well as in the description. The links may not go in today. I'm very busy. So essentially, here's the quote from the song. It says, if you want to be somebody else, change your mind. And that might sound naive or whimsical or Pollyanna, but it's also true, because that's what frames and mindset are all about. There are many things that are true all at once about anything that happens. Essentially, everything that happens has simultaneously good and bad aspects to it. And being positive isn't about ignoring the negative. Considering the negative is obviously a prudent and necessary part of leadership, of running a business. And that strategy is important to look at the downside or protect the downside. But so is being mindful and intentionally focused on the positive aspects, especially those positive aspects of our businesses of which we have control. Because as much as people pretend these days, especially marketers, that you can make people buy your products. No, you can't make people do anything. You can only engage in behavior that may persuade them to buy your products. So it's mostly about focusing on what's positive and actionable and within your control. But since optimism is contagious, of course, it starts with you, the leader. So This is one trick that's kind of interesting. This is from a book by Herbert Benson, who's the neuroscientist who invented what was called the relaxation response, which was the modern, perhaps the first neuroscientific characterization of meditation and how valid it was and what really works. So he stripped out the religion and just looked at the techniques themselves. And in particular, he later did a book called The Breakout Principle, and that's where this particular techniques comes from. And that is, find something you enjoy doing that's repetitive, meditative, and physical, and do it at least 3 days a week. So this could be some form of exercise, but it doesn't have to be. My favorite sort of breakout activity is flying my kite, which is not really exercise as such. It's a big power kite, but it's not a lot of exercise to do it, but it is repetitive, meditative, and relaxing. And what's interesting is he found that repetitive meditative tasks are really, really good for your health. So they're good for your immune system and everything else. It's anti-stress in that sense. Your mindset, and to help you solve problems. That is, in this state, this breakout state, what tends to happen is it puts our mind into sort of a light meditation where we can still ponder ideas in that. So it's actually a good state from which to solve problems. So that's just another part of it that makes it positive as a regular practice that you should be doing. Another one, and this is in particular more about happiness, because that obviously has to do with positivity, and that is practice random, or better yet, intentional but unexpected acts of kindness at work. That unexpected component will cause it to have more impact. That said, frequent is good, just unexpected gives it more emotional impact and will have that person smiling for more of the day. Now, these acts of kindness can be random or free. Mainly what they do have to be is genuine. If they feel fake, they'll be worse than doing nothing. Like, yeah, right, that's the boss trying to get us to be productive again. So research has also shown that doing kindness for others, here's the ironic part, makes you feel better and lasts longer than doing something nice for yourself, especially and or only when we see the experience the impact that our kindness has on the person who is receiving it. So to get all the benefits of positive workplace, change your mind, that is, consciously choose to be more positive, to focus on the positive. Negative's still happening, but focus on the positive. It'll affect the culture of your workplace and make more people want to be there because the positivity is infectious. The next one is do something repetitive, meditative, and physical that you enjoy about 3 days a week, and commit unexpected, frequent, random acts of kindness in a way that lets you see the effect it has on the recipients. So if you enjoyed this video, if you got any benefit, and this is something you could use in your business, and I hope it is, that's wonderful. Please commit a random act of kindness by sharing this video with somebody else. This has been Crush It Club 194, Positivity Strategies. My name is Tim B. Green. Bye for now.